Mathieu, thanks for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, very excited. Very excited to have you here. Welcome to this podcast. I have no idea what we're calling it yet. So something very, very different from what I usually do. I like to overanalyze and overplan everything and have it perfect even before we launch. So I don't even know what the podcast name will be.
Gotta start somewhere.
Well, that's it, and we're gonna polish it going throughout. I guess after 1, 2, 3 to hopefully a lot of episodes. But essentially, what I want to do here and create with this podcast is, well, first of all, it's going to be tailored for agents, for realtors that want to learn something through us, through agents that have done it before, to have some experience. So I'm always going to have a guest, and we're going to explore a specific topic. So, and I want this topic to be a deep dive into one topic, right? So basically, we'll have a title for the episode. An episode name will be like, I don't know, for farming in real estate, for example. So somebody that's interested in knowing how to farm in real estate will click on that episode, and when they're done, they have all the info. They can go on, apply it to their business directly after one episode, right? It's not a crash course that takes forever. It's just condensed substance
That's
into
it.
one episode.
One subject, the whole podcast
That's
revolves
it.
around it.
Exactly.
I like that
exactly.
idea.
Yeah. So, and today is a little bit different. Well, it's the same type of idea, but for me, it's different. Not just because it's the first episode, but because I get to interview you. Right? I've known you for over a year now. Didn't even know you existed 2 years ago as a person, right? So it's from what we've grown our relationship from now and then is a lot different, and that's kind of what I want to explore here. I want to explore the difference that there is between a realtor that is about to start his career or her career and after a year to where you're now, and what your expectations were when you started, how different they were. I'm sure it's a lot different what you expected, even though we talked a lot before how different it is. But also who you are now as a person compared to what you were before, right? So that's the whole thing. And so I have a few questions. You know I'm prepared.
Oh yeah,
Always prepared. And to your credit, I for people listening, I called Mathieu and I'm like, hey, so here is what I have in mind to talk about. And he stopped me and said, you know what? I don't want to know. I want to be surprised. I think it's going to it would come out more natural.
Oh yeah.
So you know what? Probably better this way. You're right. So very happy that we're doing this. So yeah, let's fire away. First question. What were your expectations about the career when you first started? So before you even got your license, right? What did you think a realtor was doing on a day-to-day basis, and what was the life of a realtor?
Yeah. Well, I'll try to put people in my shoes. We come from a small town up north, and I was in that town when I started my course. So it's first of all, I wasn't even aware of the exact area I was coming in, or I was aware of it, but I wasn't familiar with it.
You had never been to this area.
So it was very, very hard to put myself into perspective as to what to expect. I was really focusing on the course at that time. But let's say when we had some phone calls, I would check in sometimes and ask you a couple of questions to get guidance for the course. I saw that you were very busy. It was hard to get a hold of you. And you know what? I mean, you're an agent. You have a multitude of contacts. Of course, you have a lot of experience in it and a wealth of contacts built. But I expected to be busy, right? I expected to be a person that would be reached out to often. I expected to be a person that I would be a contact that people come to me.
Yes.
And that's what I thought it would be.
Yes.
On the contrary, it seems to be the exact opposite.
Yes, and especially when you start.
In the first years.
In the first year,
Exactly.
like now it's a little bit different, and the contacts and the leads that you're being given, and the one you generate yourself as well, they start calling back. They start like it's a wheel that's in motion, right? But it's when you start, even if give you 10 leads, well, a lot of them are going to buy in 6 months, in a year, or not going to buy at all, right?
Yeah.
Things change, so you expect, you have a client, but no, not really, right? So it's it does take some time. So that's thing that that was your expectation coming in and gonna
Oh yeah,
start
yeah.
rocking
I
and
thought, I'm gonna work for an established team. I'm gonna have a name. Mathieu Jacques. I'm a realtor in the area. People are gonna contact me to buy houses. This is what it is to be a realtor here. And well, you got to do a lot more
yeah,
reaching out than you
yeah,
get phone calls in the first years,
for
and that
sure.
that's definitely a wake up call when you do start. But it's
Yeah.
not a negative. It
Well,
rewards you
it's
even
what
more
different
when.
it's the difference between successful realtors and unsuccessful realtors, right? Like we're in a profession that I think is unique. I don't know if there's another profession like this, but that within 2 years, 80% of new realtors have quit, right? Because it's a hard profession to actually get into and make money out of it. Once you start doing, it's great, but it's hard to get there, right? Um, Now, I'm curious about because you're from a small town, same as me, Hearst in Northern Ontario. But uh, when I was your age, being a real estate agent wasn't on my radar. Like like we started talking, you were what, 21?
Yeah.
Like I wanted to buy real estate, right? Like that's something I wanted to do. I always wanted to buy real estate. Got my first house at 20, but I never thought about being a real estate agent. Didn't even realize it was a career coming from a small town. So what attracted you to this career and to this industry as a whole?
Yeah, yeah. Well, definitely in Hearst, you don't have many signs around. You're not much aware that it's a profession,
Hmm.
like you said. But the main thing that made me want to come to real estate is relationship with people and the reward feeling that I get from helping people. I've always had uh, jobs in customer service. I was first I would deliver food, and then I moved on to being a waiter because I
Right.
thought, hey, listen, I like delivering, I like bringing it. People thank me. There's a small reward for it in the form of a tip, and now I can do it as a waiter, and it's even more rewarding because I'm putting in more work. I'm walking more steps. I'm asking more questions to understand what they want to eat, what they want to have for drinks and whatnot, and try to make them laugh and everything. So how could I take that to the next step? And I thought about car sales, didn't see myself in it. I do like vehicles, but I did have big aspirations in real estate as well, and wanted to actually really understand the market and understand how it does work to be able to invest in the future, which I have done starting last year at
Already, yeah.
23. So I mean, that was the goal ultimately, just like you, to own real estate in the long run. And what better way to learn about it than sell it?
Yeah, true. True, true, true. The most common answer for people that want to be in real estate is like, "Oh, I like people and I want to make money." Right?
Yeah.
Like and it's funny because you you realize very quickly that you don't like people as much as you thought when you get into real estate. Yeah, so no, not that bad. But like there are some times that are harder, and the relationship with the client and other realtors sometimes is one of the hard parts
Oh
because
yeah.
it's emotional, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes into a real estate transaction, and the money part is the probably the biggest wake up call because you get in there and instead of starting to make money, you actually pay out of your own pocket fees, like board fees, um, uh,
Brokerage
brokerage
fees.
fees. You know, you got to buy signs, you got to buy a bunch of stuff. Like if you're not on a team like you, like there's a lot of expenses. You get
Oh
your
yeah.
first listing. Oh yeah, that video cost you $700. Oh really? Okay, well yeah, you haven't sold that one yet, right? And even when you sell it, it hasn't closed yet.
Yeah.
You're not paid for months,
Yeah.
right? So that's one of the first steps that's hard because you're not getting paid. That's why I guess people are leaving the industry a little bit sooner than they would maybe typically do. If you'd have a base salary to start with, yeah, it'd be a lot different. So yeah, okay, that's I find it. Yeah, I thought you would mention something about money there, but maybe you're trying to be humble about it.
Okay. Well, of
Yeah,
course, the reward of money is very important if you want to be an investor. Like, you got to have a way to make above average of income so you actually have that surplus that you can invest, right? So, yeah, of course, it's a deciding factor. Like, to decide between car sales and real estate sales, in my opinion, was like, hey, maybe I'll sell less houses, but the commissions are going to be bigger and the contacts are going to be bigger.
right.
So that's how I would see it.
Yes, true, true, true. So, question for you. I want to understand what's different than what you were expecting from this career, right? Because as an agent that is about to start this, or they're during the courses right now, or something like that, it's important to understand what you're getting into, right? Because we all have the same expectations. I had the same that you did. Most people have the same expectation. But what's with this job? What's turned out to be the most challenging part of it?
Yeah, I'd say in the first year, um, one big thing is definitely understanding the costs to getting into that business. You just mentioned a couple, and they add up.
They add up.
They do add up. Like the brokerage fees, it's a set fee that you pay every month. You also have some insurance fees now with OREB, and then with your board, you do have those board fees as well to be able to have
Yeah.
access to all those
Yes,
listings, all those
you're
data.
paying for Oreb, Korea, Rico, Oria. Like it's just it goes very very quickly. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And that's a shock. I had a very, very comfortable pillow to lay on monetarily, but even then, I was not into perspective as to how much I would pay and how quickly it would be
Mm-hmm.
depleting
Yeah.
the energy. What's another cost? Gas tanks.
Yeah.
You're going around doing open houses, you're going around doing some showings and everything like that. You don't end up putting in an offer. There's no income, but there was an expense to your day of
Yeah.
work, right? An expense in your energy, your time, and gas. I mean, it does add up a lot for that as well. So that's one thing that is different than what I would have imagined.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bit of a surprise. I'm now used to it. It's very important to have a good budget and understand the costs that are going to be coming in,
Right.
and put some money aside for your commissions that come in, for taxes that are coming as well. So it's a lot of monetarily management
Mm-hmm.
that's a big
Yeah,
part
and
of
we
it in the
spent
first
some
year.
time with you just trying to establish that your budgets, your taxes, how to file it more easier,
Oh
like
yeah.
easily. So, and I'm not even sure if you want me to tell this story, but I've started, so it's too late. But when you started, I knew that about new realtors, and I really wanted you to succeed, and I didn't want you to be stressed about money. So something that you don't really see in real estate often, but I offered you some type of a guaranteed base salary until you started making some money, and then you could reimburse me when that happened. And you said something that I'll always remember, and this is to your credit. And you just said, "Oh, I don't need it," because you had saved some money before this. You were 21, 22. You were about to be 22 at that time, and you already had a lot of money put aside. Something that most people don't do. But if you that's a lesson. If somebody is trying to get into this career, first 6 months are very rough financially, so put some money aside. It's made your life a lot easier, and being on the ball with your finances as you are as a person, if you didn't have that cushion like you mentioned, you'd be a lot more stressed.
Oh yeah, it would be a very, very tough start. A
Mm-hmm.
tough start. Just to
Mm-hmm.
put into perspective, my first sale was 3 months after getting my license, but the first commission from that sale came in 5 months after getting my
Yeah,
license. So
it's
it
five
takes a
months
good
before
while
you get
before
paid.
you do get your pay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that might not be the average. It might be above. It might be under average. But just to
Mm-hmm.
put into perspective to some realtors out there or some aspiring realtors.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to something a little bit of more substance that's more related to doing the work actually.
Yeah.
Client interactions and transactions. Okay, how are they different than what you imagined? Like, how is it different to work with the client than what you imagined at first or you expected, and like the whole transaction process?
Okay. Yeah. Well, so in the beginning, the way that I would get most clients would be by doing open houses. I did open houses for pretty much like a year straight every weekend. And one thing I thought is people are coming to open houses, they want to buy a house. That's what they want to do. I mean, yeah, most of them do. Some come in and it's just a Sunday thing. Oh, we see a sign, let's stop and everything. But of course, maybe they do want to buy a house, but who am I to them?
Right.
Right? I
Exactly.
need to prove to them that I am a worthwhile person to give them well, not financial advice, but advice towards
Well, it's their biggest
buy,
purchase, right? Like it's just they're bringing their family into this, and yeah, they need to trust you.
yeah.
They need to know you're doing the right thing, that you know what you're doing.
Exactly, exactly. And me being a first year into the real estate industry, it's not the easiest to prove. Hey, listen, I may not have experience, but here are a lot of statistics. I know the market. I know what the house might be worth. I know what would be a good offer price for this house. I can prove it to them. But if they don't like my character, or if they don't like how I speak, or if I do this slight mistake, they might not use my
Yeah,
services to buy the
exactly.
house. So that's one thing that I thought in the first place. I thought, one that's coming in the open house. Hey, I'm the agent that's there. I'm the one that they're gonna use if they want to buy that house.
Hmm.
Not necessarily.
No, and a lot of them, they have agents before they come in,
Yeah.
so they're here to show you that you're almost there, just open the door, right? Like a lot of time, that's how they view this. So it's I remember that sticker shock too. You have to prove yourself a lot more than I thought you would need to. And I wasn't as young as you when I started. I was 27 at the time, but I remember that, and I was with a big team, and they were calling this team, they calling the name, not me, right? And then I would get into that house, they'd open the door and they see my face, and automatically they see that I'm young, and I saw it in their eyes
Yeah.
that they were disappointed that I was a person sent. Like they looked at my car, oh, he has a Jetta. Yeah, well, I just started. I don't have money yet. Like I can't buy a Lexus. You know what I mean? Like it's just, so it's not always fun, but at the same time, you need to it's good because it makes you work harder for it, and it makes you become a better realtor, because you need to be good at your craft. You're not going to be hired if you're not good at it, because your name is worth nothing when you start. So you have to do the homework. And my goal had always been, I'm going into this appointment, I need to teach these people something. They might have bought 20 houses and sold 20 as well, but if I go in there and I show them some things that they don't know, I'm worth something. If I go in there and I regurgitate the same thing everybody says and they've heard it 20 times before and it's just the exact same thing, then I'm just another guy out there, might as well get the one with experience. But so my goal was to show them I'm a go-getter. I'm here to help you. I'm going to go do the work. Plus, here's what I know. So I specifically tried to find out some things that might be more odd, like nothing, but that you'd be like, oh, really? Okay, yeah. Like, and you find something that you're good at. Like, I have a degree in economics. Like, that's my forte, right? I understand the market. I understand a lot of stuff. You find ways to make sure that you put that in the conversation. You find ways to make sure that they understand that yes, you can bring some value even though you're young.
That's it. That's it. Exactly. That's a point I forgot to mention. The age point. We've had that discussion in the past.
Many times.
In the first place, I thought I was prejudged because of my age, and maybe I was.
You probably were. You probably were.
Complaining won't change anything.
No,
Trying
exactly.
to provide or working on providing more value. That's how the marketplace will see the value, and that's how you'll get remunerated.
And change the narrative, right? Like you make the narrative that's a good thing that you're new, right? You're working with an experienced team. You have somebody that is behind you to give you that knowledge. If things become tricky, you have somebody to lean back on. You have all the power of a big team when it comes to marketing. But I am new. I don't have kids. I work hard. That's what I do. That's what I do. I go after this. I'm going to sell your home because nobody is going to make as many calls as I will. Nobody is going to make as many open houses as I will. And you know what? Like, it makes a difference at the end of the day. Anybody can put a listing on MLS. Not everybody is willing to put the work that I'll be doing. And the last listing that we got together, that was one of the factors. They like your enthusiasm, right?
Yeah.
So it does work. So you have to change the narrative. Find out how you can make a negative a positive.
Oh yeah, that's it. Exactly. That's some good insight.
All right, so how are you as a person different today than when you started a year ago? And not just like the confidence factor, because and I've seen you grown, honestly. Like this is, in the position that I'm in, that's something that's very cool to see. Right? Like even Sylvain today, it made the conversation I had with him this morning made me really happy because he's had a great year, right? lot of sales. He was busy, right? And he just came back from a trip with the boys in the woods. It's just a resourceful trip, and like to center yourself back. And I actually I wish I went now that I've heard about it. But anyway, and then he came in and he just said, you know what, I I loved it, but I don't feel like I needed a vacation. I feel great. Plus, I am about to go in Portugal soon, right? How amazing is that? You're at the end of the year. Everybody's like, ugh, you're tired. You work so hard. Yeah, your head is buzzing, and he's just there and chilling along.
Didn't even need it.
Didn't even need a vacation. Like, how
Busiest
great
year
is
yet.
that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is, yeah. Anyway, so that was a side tangent. We'll see if he listens to the podcast.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
We'll see if he'll talk to us about it.
But yeah, no, that's amazing. I'm really happy for
Yeah.
him. He told me the exact same thing, and that's what I said. I was like, that's great. If you didn't need it, that's a really good sign.
Yeah, no, exactly. So like from my point of view, to see you guys grow into this role is amazing. But so I guess the question I want to ask you is, how is your mindset different when you from when you started to now, and even going to appointments?
Yeah. Okay. I think that my mindset it's more resilient.
Mm-hmm.
It can absorb more criticism. It can absorb more doubtfulness in my services. It can absorb more, just critiques or whatnot. Sometimes I will be with a client and they'll ask me why I know such a thing, and I'll explain it to them how I got the knowledge that I got.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I know these facts about the market. This is where I got these facts, and I can prove my information that I'm sharing.
Right.
When I started, sure, I had those resources. I didn't know where to get all of those. I didn't know how to fit in my calendar to get all those resources. I didn't have a solid schedule to work with and everything like that. But now, having all that pinned down, I'm resourceful to people, and that makes me resilient. If ever someone doesn't think I do have information that can help them, I'll prove it to them. Right. And it comes back to that point of the age as well. I'm more resilient to that as well, and I'm able to overcome that objection as well. So, and what does that do? Well, it ups the confidence. It makes you feel good. It's easier to have a smile the whole day on your face. Just
even after being hit by a few negatives in the same day in a row 3 or 4 times, boom, bad morning, you're still able to go back home and
that's it,
enjoy
exactly, and still have a good dinner with the girlfriend, and to still have some smiles in the office with the guys, even if the last call I got hung up on, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
That would have been upsetting last year.
Yeah.
And now I understand how it is.
It's just it's the process. It happens.
Yeah.
And it's harder, I think, because everybody's built differently, right? It's harder for somebody that actually cares, because you do care, right? And I was the same. I'm not built for cold calling, because being hung up on forever is not something I enjoy, right? So I very right from the beginning, I worked on my database instead of working on that. Then, it's maybe harder to get deals at the beginning, because if your database is not ready to buy or sell, nothing happens. But eventually, in the long run, I believe it's the easier path. But so it hurt you at some point at the beginning. Like I saw you were down, and it's normal, right? Like, you get hit by so many things. It's important stuff. It's people that are trusting you into very important decisions, and then boom, it doesn't work out, and you could see it did hurt. And now we're talking about it. We're almost laughing about it, because it is what it is, and you got to move on, and there's nothing else you can do. You're not going to get them all. It still stings. It will always sting, because you do care. I do care. Sylvain cares. Like, ask anybody that cares. It still hurts sometimes, but you're able to switch it up, back on and off faster, I guess.
Yeah.
And the one thing I want to focus on a little bit is, so at the beginning, like in our team, we're big goals people, right? Like we write goals at the beginning of the year. We establish why these goals are important so that we feel them throughout the year. We set up things that we got to do. We understand what we need to do. And then we set up goals, and it was like the year you started, the market wasn't hot at all, right?
Nope, it wasn't.
So it was harder to just come in and say, yeah, it's working out. Like, so you came in at a harder time, and so even though you were working very hard, the sales weren't there. So you're working hard. It's tough on emotionally. You're not making money. You're actually losing money, right? So and we made a switch. We switched to progress goals instead of a sales goal halfway through the year. So the idea was to focus on what you can do to get better and to increase your pipeline instead of, oh no, I haven't sold a home this month, right? A switch happened then.
Yes.
When we focused on that.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on it?
Oh, yes, most definitely. I believe it was maybe in the middle of the winter or so, and the weather has an effect. The fact that there's no money coming in has an effect. The fact that you're not getting many answers out of your follow-ups has an effect. Not a lot of people come to open houses. There's snow in the streets, and the overall morale was pretty down. It was very hard the value that I was providing was not getting rewarded, and it didn't feel very good at that time. And so, like you said, the approach was very good, that we transferred it to focusing on the process and actually improving on providing value in those follow-ups, and not just reaching out and asking, hey, listen, where are you at in the process right now?
Yeah.
Instead, sending them an email with some statistics, letting them know, listen, this is where the market is at. It might be a good time to buy. I know you're on the fence and kind of debating things over. It's a good time now. Now I've provided value. So then I was actually focusing on improving the ways that I would follow up and the questions I would ask in the open houses. And at that time, I worked also on my schedule to put myself in order and actually, okay, this is what I'll do with this block of time. This is what I'll do with this block of time. And that helped tremendously. So every single things of these rubrics are all process oriented.
Yes. And at that time, even our team, we weren't busy, right? So not a lot of leads were coming in. The market was just down. Like nobody was shopping. So you could have, let's just say you came here Monday morning, you could have stepped in the office and left. Next day, step in the office and then leave. There was nothing to do, right?
Yeah.
There was no clients really that needed you. It was just, but we're at a job that you have to consider it's a 40-hour week still, right? So you have, if you have some downtime, that's the time that you get better. That's the time that you do some research. And that's the time that you work on yourself, your skills, so that when you do have a conversation at an open house, it is more smoothly. It goes smoothly. And then this client's like, oh, it was a good conversation. It was fun, right? Instead of you chopping in through a few bits of information here and there, you practice those scripts. You started doing some videos. You started working on what you were sending in your clients into the follow-up. Like if you have nothing to do, you should never call the client or email a client like, hey, how are things? I just wanted to check in. No, here is the market. I just thought there'd be some value there. Spend half an hour on a nice email on a lot of stats that you can probably use for the next client after anyway, right?
Yeah.
But there's no excuse if you have some downtime. Once you get busy and you have 20 clients in a day that's calling you, you can't do that, right? I understand that. But if you're not busy, you owe it to your career to do these stuff because you have no excuse anymore. If you don't put the time in, you're not going to succeed. And it's a profession that there are always some ups and downs, and you get some clients in, you do some work, clients come in, and then you get busy. You're not able to fill up that pipeline as much as you should. You sell those homes, or these people drop off the market, and then boom, you have no more clients.
Exactly.
Right? And you pump the wheel, you pump the well again, and you try to go. But it's important to be able to do it throughout the year, even though when you're busy, and also you have to do it when you have to do it in the process oriented way, so that you carve out some times in your calendar every week to do your follow up, to do your prospecting for your future business, because whatever you're doing today, you're selling in a few months, right? So you have to work on the future.
That's it, exactly. And that's a hard perspective to have when you're starting. You don't completely understand that unless it's actually meddled into your brain or until you see it by living through it. And well, I thank you for explaining it to me a multitude of times and reminding me and encouraging me to keep going, because that might even be hard to do, to keep encouraging someone that that focuses on the results rather than the
Mhm.
process in the first place, right?
Well, I've been in your shoes.
Yeah,
I know.
that's it.
Yes, I know what it feels like. I remember my first year. At the end of my first year, it was a July. Yes, I guess a year and a half because I started in January. But anyway, I sold 8 homes in like 9 days. It was my first like monster month, right?
Wow.
So 8 homes in maybe not under 2 weeks anyway, and 6 of them fell apart 4 days after that, right? So I went from to like everything happened,
That must have been a
and
big ego hit.
oh well, it's more than ego. It's just like because I at that time I thought I made it. I was like, I'm in. I'm finally a high producer. I'm this, and I had some success before, but not like a monster jam-packed time, right? Especially in July when it's slower, it just felt like yes.
Yeah.
And I was very down. Like I remember, like you start calculating your commission, right? Like we all do this at the beginning. Oh, I have this, I have this, I have that. Like they add up, like oh my god, so much money, and then almost nothing,
Yeah.
right? So to the up and down of this, it's something that you have to learn because it's like morally, like not morally, that's a French translation, but in your mindset, it's affected a lot, and it hurts, like physically hurt. I remember, like I yeah. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
my parents knew. Like it's funny. Like I went to eat at my parents' home. 1 or 2 days after that, and when I walked in, I was like this instead
They
of
could
like
sense it,
they
eh?
could sense it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it affects the posture, it affects the
Hmm.
facial
Yeah.
expressions, it affects everything.
But it also affects your relationships,
Yeah.
right? And that's one thing that I wanted to dive in a little bit because like so I want you to tell me how excited your girlfriend was when you went on your first appointment on a Saturday morning or Friday evening versus today.
Yeah.
And you're only 1 year in. I'm 11 years in,
Yeah.
right? Like with kids at home, right? So it's yeah, it's different.
Well, the first one, it was amazing. She got she got dressed up. She put a whole lot of makeup. She had this big smile on, the perfume, everything. A great big hug and kisses before I leave, and encouraging me. You go
Mhm.
get him. You're showing a house today.
Yeah,
Good job. And it's amazing to have that support around, and
yeah.
that kind of that upped the morale at that time for sure. And well, now it is different because
And
she
it,
does
it
understand.
and it's not that she doesn't support you as much. It's just that the grinds of missing date nights
Yeah,
is not as fun as it used to.
yeah,
All right, like it's not like my wife. She still supports me. She gets that this is how I pay the bills, right? Like my portion of the bill, she pays her portion. Not saying that I'm the only breadwinner. That's not what I meant. But like she gets that if we don't go out, it doesn't happen. But at the same time, um, when she's getting dinner ready and I'm supposed to pick Emma at daycare and then bring her home, and I call last minute and say, you know what, sorry, I really need to go take that appointment, and then she has to stop dinner halfway through, pack the baby, go get go get Emma at daycare, come back, try to finish dinner on her own with the 2 kids there. Like it's not the same thing.
Oh, it must be tough to manage with kids,
It's not the same thing.
Oh yeah,
So like and it's something that you have to prepare yourself with that nobody does.
Yeah.
Not what he. I don't know anybody that does that. And it's Sylvain, same thing. Like his wife was all excited, go make money, go for it. But then you know what? They want to go camping, right? And then he goes camping, and halfway through, like on the ride there, he's on the phone instead
The
of
call, yeah.
like it's not. There are costs. There are costs to your relationships.
And there are costs to relationships, and if you do remain available or you don't remain available to your clients, then there's a cost
Mhm.
monetarily.
Yes,
So it's
yes, exactly, and especially when you start, it's tougher to have a boundary.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at this, a lot better, meaning that like we've established systems within our team that if one goes away, the other one is able to handle it, and that preparation is key. Like if you make it, you leave and you make a list of all your clients that are currently active. I have that list. You message them, hey, I'll be away for 4 days, no phone, no connection. Call Cedric if something happens. You won't drop the ball as much, and the client gets it. Like if it's prepared properly, the client gets it. Service won't drop because I'm doing it, right? The service won't drop because you're taking care of my client. So everybody's still happy, and you're able to recuperate a little bit better than if you're on your phone in the middle of the woods, right? It's not the same thing.
That's
And
it.
your family appreciates that. Yes, your family understands the sacrifice that you're making by turning off your phone. So they are appreciative, and it's finding those boundaries. I'm at a point, and a lot of people don't get this, but at 8 p.m. automatically my phone goes on do not disturb. Um, and like I'll check sporadically. If I missed a call, maybe I'll call back. If I get a text that needs to be answered promptly, I would. But in what we do, unless we're in the middle of negotiating a deal, from 8 to 8, not much is happening. Like not much matters if I answer right away, right?
Yeah.
If an agent calls me, he at 9 p.m.
Has a question about a
He's
listing.
he's not going to send me an offer at 9 p.m. So you got to give me an answer by 10.
Yeah.
Right, like if you do this, if you send a bully offer or something like this, like you're going to do it at 3 p.m. and say give me an answer by 4, not 9 to 10, right? So you're not missing on business for your client. I'm not going to not sell a house because I did this. And if they have a question on my listing, nobody expect if they send me something at 9 that they need the answer right away so that they can tell their client, right? So and my clients as a whole, they know. I let them know. Right, I have a family.
That's it.
It's something that's important to me.
You got to set the boundaries with them for sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And even with you, remember, like even like that's the drawback of having a team. Like I feel responsible to help you as much as you can, and sometimes stuff happens at 5:30 and you need help. Like
Yeah.
you start, there's a million different scenarios that you're going to need help that you haven't foreseen because you're starting, and then you're calling, but
You're eating dinner with the
I'm
family.
exactly, and it's like at one point it was just like, hey, just if it's an emergency, I'll answer. Well, I try to always answer, but if it's an emergency, call me. No issues there. But if it can wait, maybe wait at 7 or in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just so that I can have dinner with the family, and my wife is less on top of me on that stuff, so it helps me a lot. It's not just for me; it's the whole family, right? Because that's what you start understanding at one point. I'm taking that call. It's not just affecting my mood; it's affecting how they view the whole thing.
The whole household.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm in the process of learning that for sure. We're establishing a schedule, a mutual schedule. A certain time that we want to sit down to eat. I'm still at a time that I'll take a phone call if ever it does come during a dinner, unless it's a date at a restaurant or a formal date like that. But definitely setting boundaries and having a schedule with your significant other is you can't overlook it with this this profession.
No, for sure. Because and I don't know the stat. I think I knew at one point. I actually don't know it, but we're a very high percentage of divorce rate in our business.
I don't doubt it.
For a multitude of reasons, right? So yeah, if you value your family and relationship and want to keep it as is. You got to put the time in, right? Figure out your priorities. And the first few years I was in there without kids, it was always like, it's about to be better. I'm just starting. It's about to be better.
Yeah.
But after 7, 8, 9 years of saying it's about to be better, she doesn't care
Is it
anymore.
true? Yeah.
Like
Is it true at that
she doesn't
point?
believe me.
Yeah.
Right? She
Yeah.
doesn't believe me. With I wouldn't believe her either.
And you knew what you were getting into when you started, or
Not as much.
No?
I think maybe a little bit more than you, because I had purchased a home through a realtor before.
Yeah,
I had
perspective.
I had the perspective. I had the I had friends that were in the business. I knew people that were doing that, right? So I kind of saw them going, but also I was a little bit older too, right? And in Ottawa at the time, so no,
Yeah,
I knew a little bit more. I didn't know the emotional toll it would have, though.
Okay.
That I didn't know.
Oh, me neither.
Yeah, that's
Me
the
neither,
biggest thing. Yeah.
But I made sure to let know. Well, Isabelle, my girlfriend, I made sure to let her know before coming in the area here that I would be very busy, at least in the starting years, and I'm sure it'll go on over the starting years, because you can only get busier if you do keep reaching out to some people. But
you get busier, but you get better at controlling it too.
that too,
right?
I can see a difference since last year. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
like if somebody, when you start, hey, I need to be there at 7 that night. Yeah, I'll be there. 100%. No issues.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I for the first time. So my daughter is 3.5. She's starting this acrobatics class, and she's enjoying it. And halfway through the year, the semester, we can't see her do it. Like, parents are not allowed.
Okay.
They do their own thing. I'm not sure why, but whatever. It is what it is. It's okay. But halfway through, we get to see one of their practices, and I don't care what appointment is. I'm not missing that.
Yeah.
Right. And like when you see movies that the client, the dad or the mom is busy at work or busy doing something and misses their recital, I was like, oh, that's too bad. But okay, just go to the next one, right? But now, knowing how happy they are to see you, like, it makes such a difference. Like, you get there, they want you to look at them. They want, like, to miss it and see how hurt they will be that you're not there. Is like, I don't care what appointment it is. But when I started my first year, and there's a big client, $1 million home, that wants me to go and list their house, I don't know what I would have said that back then. Right now, I have the luxury of saying, you know what, it's not tonight, it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we're at a point that it's yes, I do want your business. I don't need your business. And trust me, you want to work with me, right? Like, this is the attitude changed, right? The mindset is, this client wants me more than I want them.
Yeah.
And this takes, obviously, a few commission come in before you can get that confidence.
Definitely.
Because if you lose that client because you're too cocky, and it's not really cocky, but it's just you're setting your priorities straight. But if you start losing a deal because of something like that, you're gonna be mad at yourself, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're probably not there yet.
Nope.
But it's a good place to be. And I remember Sylvain.
It must.
I remember Sylvain. It's he at one point, like, I asked him, he knows which client he fired first. He knows. I know which client you're like, you know what? We're not made for each other. I'm sorry. It's not going to work out. All my stress goes into you. No, thank you. Yeah. And I went to a conference, a Brian Buffini conference years ago. And that's one thing he emphasized on. He's like, at one point, you're going to be able to fire your jackass client. Like, and he used these exact words. You're going to be able to fire this jackass client, and instead of being disappointed, you're going to be very happy. You're going to be like, it's a sense of relief that comes. I don't have to deal with this person anymore.
That's it.
Right? And then, this person knows a lot of people. Yeah, but the people you're going to be referred to are going to be exactly like him.
Yeah.
You don't want the referral. Right? So it's a good place to be. It's a good place to be.
You're solidly grounded. And
Yeah. Like, it is what it is. I'm losing this one. Hey, I'll live another day anyway. All right. Last question. Actually, no, I have something else afterwards. What is the single most important lesson that you've learned in the past year? Like one thing you've learned. And I'm not sure if you're going to say the same thing that I will.
That's a very good
Yeah.
question. I gotta say, I've proved it to myself last year, and I picked it as my word, which we give ourselves in our goal
Okay.
setting
Mm-hmm.
sessions, and that is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Being
Yeah.
consistent. Uh, Again, not riding the ups and downs. Just keep aiming up.
Yeah.
Keep aiming up,
Mm-hmm.
and the reward will come the more and
Eventually. Yeah.
more that you put in.
Yeah.
If you do put a stop to it, or if you do go on a vacation too long, or if you do disconnect your phone too early when your clients can reach out in the first years, and you're not being consistent with your times that you give to the clients to reach out, and you're not being consistent with, say, open houses, and you stop doing some for a little while, it's going to affect your pipeline. It's going to affect the amount of contacts you're making.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
being consistent, and that's
Yeah.
a very hard profession to be consistent in, because sometimes you're consistent and no money will come in anyways.
Well,
It's
that's because the consistency that you're working on pays in
it's an investment in the long run.
3 to 6 to a year, 6 months a year.
That's
right?
it, exactly, and it's hard to see in the first year. It's very, very hard to see how
Mhm.
it does work. But when you have it into perspective, consistency is the number one
Yeah.
thing for me.
And it's easier when you get a few deals going and you have a few paychecks coming in. So then you start understanding. Okay, yes, it is true. Oh, yes. Okay, all right, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a totally different lane for this for you, and because I've seen you, and you've improved a lot on this. But it's when you start, especially somebody like you that works hard and you prepare yourself. You go into an appointment very prepared, right?
Yeah.
You had a script written. You know where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
You had an idea of, and that's most people when they start. You have an idea of how this appointment is going to go because you haven't done a million of them, right? You're prepared to certain things, but real estate appointments don't go in a straight line. It goes from there to there to there, and you have to be able to adjust your script and the way you talk to people and be aware of what they're saying. And for me, I think that's one of your number one thing that lesson that you got, because and you've worked on. I've seen, and then it's we've talked about it many times. And
Yeah.
afterwards, it's like, oh yeah, true. Okay,
That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to reinforce it. You need to learn it to
Yeah.
then apply it, right?
Well, and because it's hard to do it during the appointment. It's not like you're ready to go for it, but they're saying something that you don't really agree on. You know that they don't know what they're talking about. They're not realtors. It's just their preconception about the market, and you have one lane that you want to hammer on.
Here's
But
the next point that I thought about talking about.
Exactly.
With you,
but sometimes it's just realizing that for them it's a sore spot. So let it go for now and just be sneaky about it later on and just come back. So you still make your point in a different way than you intended to, but you end up that you still make it. But that client to not be to not still hit on the nail. Yeah, I remember this first appointment we did together, and that was it, right? Like there was to tell the story. We had an appointment. I met the client before at somebody that I knew, and then Mathieu came in. He was about to handle the listing, and then pretty much the way it happened is he was very prepared, had comparables, and the client wasn't receptive to the comparables because he had in his mind he had a price that his house was worth that we did not agree beforehand during the meeting and all. But at that time, it was okay. All right. And you kept on going. You kept on going.
Yeah,
and
I kept showing comparable after comparable, trying to make my point.
And they were getting annoyed is a small word to where it was, and then it would stop, and then I would be like, okay, and then I bring them back up, and everybody's happy, and again you're like, oh, I have this one last one I want to show you, and I was like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
I remember it
yeah,
like it
yeah,
was yesterday.
exactly. And then
Yeah.
we were on the car on the way back, and I'm like, Mathieu, you got to be more aware, man. You got to realize what's happening. Like, it made no, in my mind, I was like, what is he doing? But then it's a
It
learning
was my
curve.
first experience.
It's a
I
learning
thought
curve.
that's
Yeah.
what you do on a listing appointment, and
Yeah, but it's just at that time you had to recognize that these people were not receptive. So it didn't even matter if your speech was perfect. It didn't matter.
yeah, it
It did
wouldn't
not
even have
matter.
changed anything,
Correct.
and I didn't even catch that because I was too busy explaining, hey, listen,
Mhm.
this house has this amount of bedrooms, this amount of bathrooms, this
Yeah.
is what it's sold for, this is when it's sold.
You had
And
your blinders on and you had a speech going through. Yeah.
exactly, and that's definitely not the way to go.
Mhm.
Everybody has a different story, and you need to listen to
Well, and,
to
and
what they
that's
have
it.
to say.
And that's it. And you know what? Like there are two ways, and that's one way. Sorry, that's one way that you got better, right? And there are two ways of making more money in real estate. There's A, getting more clients, or B, having a better closing rate. So if you have one more client, or let's say you have 10 clients, right? You have a closing rate of 20%. So you're going to sell 2 homes. To be able to sell 4 homes on that rate, you need to have 20 clients instead. But what if you work on yourself? You work on your script, you work on your awareness, you work on all of that, and you get there and you sell 40%. You close 40% instead. So you still met the same number of clients, but you doubled your sales because you worked on yourself. And that's what we worked a lot in the past year. That's what we focused on. And when we switch from result goals to process goals and work on yourself goals, the switch happened,
That
and
was the
boom, you
best
got
switch
better.
ever.
You got better right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's it exactly. And now it comes down to consistency. Now, knowing
Yeah,
the process.
you're back to consistency. You're back to consistency. Yeah. All right. So I'm not sure if you probably have one. This is something maybe I should let guests know before they come in. But I like to hear a funny story that happened in real estate.
Okay.
Like you were with a client that it's just can't believe this happened, or we visited that house, there was this stuff there, or something like that. Putting you on the spot, I guess. To come
I
up
do
with
have
something.
one.
Okay, go for it.
I was showing an investment property, and it was a fourplex that was in Clarence Rockland, and we went through 3 of the units. Went pretty well. All of the tenants were present, and they were all very reciprocal, and the conversations were fluent, and they wanted to have a new landlord, so the potential buyer was discussing with them, and it went very well. Let's go on to the 4th one. I had keys in my hand to open that door, and it was locked. There was no answer when we knocked. So, and there was vehicles, so we were like, maybe they're there, but no answer. So I knocked a total of maybe 4 times before deciding to unlock it, because there was a vehicle in front of that door, and I was okay. Maybe they do have 2 vehicles. Maybe
Right.
it's a couple.
Right.
So we go downstairs, and we start taking a look at the place. We look at the kitchen, we look at the bathroom. No one in there. But then we go into one of the bedrooms, and the door was closed. And I knocked. I didn't feel very comfortable. We're here to see the property. They got the notification. Everything is good. And there was someone in there, and he was just gaming. It was okay. He was just gaming, and we walked up on him, and he was like, "Oh, hey guys!" He turns to the door. "Oh, hey guys! Oh yeah, you're here for the viewing. Yeah, nice. Hey, feel free to go around. No problem." Shuts the door again. We don't even see his room at all.
Right.
Feel free to go around, but don't take a look at my room though.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, there's 2 bedrooms in this unit. Go check in the other bedroom. Door was not shut, but it was dark in there. We didn't really flick on the light switch. I had a flashlight, so I used a flashlight to take a look around. We couldn't find the light switch. And I turned around to the bed, and there was someone sleeping in the bed. And I flashed my flashlight right in
Wow.
in the bed, and that was a very, very awkward
Yeah, yeah,
show. We
oh.
didn't get to see it. We walked straight out of there. Anyways,
So, yeah,
so that was my
did the person wake up?
Nope, not at
Not
all.
even.
Not even.
Wow.
Not even. So
Crazy.
luckily, because
Oh, sorry.
I don't know what their reaction would have been.
Yeah.
So we just walked out, and we understood what the units were.
Yeah, didn't need to go into it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got it. You got it. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Our first appointment.
Thank you for the opportunity. It was amazing. Yeah.
It's very weird to speak to you in English instead of French.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
it is what it is. We'll it's something I have a lot of French realtor friends. So anyway, I'll get used to it. But yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for being here. Everybody, thanks for listening to this. Hopefully, you've listened to the whole 54 minutes. Wow, that went quick, eh?
Yeah. It does go very quick. Oh, yeah.
I thought we were doing like 25, 30 minutes, but it...
Just keep talking, and the timer keeps going, and that's it. But yeah, thank you. It was nice, and I'm sure it won't be the last time I'll be featured on.
No. We'll bring you back in.
Thank you
All
for
right.
the invitation.
Everybody, we'll see you next week. Bye.